Okay. All right. Welcome to Radical Earth Heart Resonance here in the middle of October. I don't even know what day it is. That's how funny life gets to be when you don't pay attention to calendars and you don't pay attention to what day of the week it is. You just live in this Earth Heart resonance. That's saying my internet connection is unstable, which is okay. I've been unstable before. And so hopefully you can hear me. And if we're freezing, I will try to switch my internet connection, my network, and see if that works. Okay.
We're going.
Take a second, and I think we're on the other network, and hopefully that will solve that problem. So, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are around the world, and welcome to this moment where we tap into the Earth Heart resonance, not only to connect with Mother Earth, but to connect with each other at a deeper level of awareness, one in which human thought patterns really create more interference than they do tapping into the language and the energies of all that surrounds us and helps us to create balance and harmony. So I'd just like everybody to just take a deep inhale, feeling the water as it moves through your nostrils or across your tongue, knowing that as this water evaporates, it's returning to another form. And in the future, we may be drinking that, or we may be bathing in that. That it doesn't leave the planet. What we think and what science tells us happens isn't all there is. We are elemental, and every elemental plays itself out within our physical bodies. Earth, wind, fire, ethers. So tonight as we gather in presence, in honor of all of the elementals, all of the elements, all of our ancestors who have embraced life on this planet, all who have moved through lifetimes to be here now, all of our star ancestors, our guides, our teachers, wisdom keepers, angels, whatever you feel called to call into your presence right now. Invite them. Invite them to be present as we join together to co-create and to witness the power of what we are when we come into a place of heart resonance and work together. Each of us bringing forth a single thread, or perhaps a small stream of consciousness. Thank you all for being present tonight. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. We are unity. Aho mitakuyoasin. And with that, take another deep breath and relax and be present in this moment. And I will hand the Vogel crystal to Brother Tyhson.
Thank you, Charlie. I guess I'll receive it with a little angel. Yeah, thank you for that opening. It got me thinking, especially as you and Shelley have come off walking the river and doing ceremony along the sacred river that many ancestors and moccasin feet have done before, and one in particular that Shelley is honored to follow the path of. And I was thinking of, how the terminology of the river is used by us in so many different ways, like the river of life, right? Talking about the river of life. We talk about the headwaters of the river, thinking about maybe part of the balance and the resonance is having the waters in our head in harmony with the headwaters of a river. When we in the earth are one of one heart, then all of us and all of earth are in the same resonant frequency. And then I was thinking about, when you got to the ocean, you're at the mouth of the river. And does that mean that when you start at the headwaters, only when you get to the mouth of the river can you speak your truth? So these were things that were coming to me through the use of our language and how we use the language to describe our emotions and our feelings using the natural phenomena of rivers, earth, and the phenomena of Mother Earth. So that's what came to me, the headwaters of the river. So with that, we're in the midst of this ceremonial walk that many of us have come here to do, to tread lightly on the path of this earth. And at this time, with so much change and transformation occurring on the planet, it's tempting to become the warrior and start beating our chest and pounding the drum and calling a battle cry to bring about change and transformation. But the more I work with Mother Earth, the more that I realized that no, it really is, walking softly on the earth with moccasins is really the way when you're in the harmony of the natural phenomena of the earth, then things synchronistically happen. They drop into place. You don't have to be the warrior in the old way of going to battle, but becoming one with the stillness of the resonance of the Divine Mother and Mother Earth. So those are the thoughts in my mind as we begin this journey today. And I know that we have work that we'd like to do. And as we get ready for big changes that are about to happen on this continent, as we get close to what some people call an election, and that there's a lot of turbulent thought circulating. And if we can remember that we are always rooted in the Mother, and when we forget that, when we alienate ourselves from nature, we ultimately alienate ourselves from our own inner nature, and we've gone astray. So I'm encouraging us to put on our moccasins and begin to tread softly once again on the back of the Mother. So those are my few words to start off the call tonight.
Hey,
And with that, I'm complete.
I'm going to jump in following you. since I just put my moccasins on that have walked the headwaters. And thank you both. In listening to Charlie, the highlighted word was consciousness. And in taking this river walk from the headwaters of the Androscoggin to the ocean and following every corner, becoming an intimate bond with the expression of nature herself through the trees, through the waters, through the hawk that came through always guiding. The one thing that was a reminder was to make an offering before you start, to make an offering. And every day we found our way to exactly the right spot, Charlie and I, to make an offering. And tonight, I feel that that's a really important piece. And the word peace, P-E-A-C-E, that we come to peace with who we are and how we communicate, how we stand steadfast. And the words that were in the journey were rock steadfast, standing as a stone being in love, in connection, and really asking to be opened to allow the humility that it takes for us to be in contact with these elementals, with the land, with the earth. And when we're doing, we're here in radical earth heart resonance, and well, how is resonance radical? How is doing our walk, whatever we're doing, whether it's Pilot Mountain or just going down to a stream or taking care of our family, it's that offering of the heart that comes forth with humility and love and open to receive what the information that wants to come in. And that alignment with the designing intelligence was the gift of this journey that both Charlie and I took. It was a 4-day journey and it changed my life. And it allowed a sense of fortitude and presence that only the river itself can do, because we are the water. And part of, to me, coming here and being, working with the earth is not to come to fix anything, to notice the resistances in the field that are within ourselves that, are contributing to our surroundings, and the elections are our surroundings. The connection field are our surroundings. The people in the connection field are our surroundings, and to become this opportunity was such a phenomenal experience of, stepping into the medicine, and really the medicine of the medicine of who we really are. And, I know I've been away for a couple of weeks, and it was really important to unplug, to really come into that, as you were saying, Tyhson, that divine mother, that intimacy with the earth, because we can only create a shift when we stand in love, and we're asking, what would love do in this circumstance? What does the earth need in this circumstance? And to me, that's the beauty of, the evolutionary dowsing, the consortium. Every bit of work was a gift from spirit itself to come in and to become intimate with her body. And I just want to leave it there for tonight, that when we do that, then we can see that beauty and that intensity. And I just got off, this was crazy. I never watched this stuff, I just happened across a post, a video, and it was one of those, The Voice or something like that. But this girl told this story. She's 19 years old, and she got up there and she told the story of how she had been bullied all her life. And she was so scared to really come out and be that fullest expression. And she got on stage and told the story, and she had these 2 tattoos and it said, "Stay strong." And it was an amazing experience where she could come with so much love and so much pain and be that fullest expression and be held and be nurtured in that experience. And it really touched my heart, because when we're working on the earth, you know, it's what we're talking, we've just named it something else called bullying. And bullying comes in many forms. And when we're working on the earth and with the earth, it's really that vibrational field that Charlie was talking about, the distortions, anything other than love itself. And so to me, the opportunity, the privilege to come together in this form is to allow the healing within this nation first. And then to look upon her body and to bring that love and light and that peace that is created from this container that is one with her body. And then the transformation happens. And of course, we get excited about all these different, you know, Serpent Mound and all these amazing ley lines, but it's the love that transforms. And so it just feels like that's the invitation of the field tonight, is to take everything that we're learning and to weave it into those like golden threads, you know, that Charlie was talking about, you know, to weave that love and light into her grid, into her ley lines, you know, those water veins. That's all it is. It's sunlight on water. So with that, I'm grateful to be back here, and thank you, Charlie and Tyhson, for always being the amazing sacred warriors, Sacred Heart warriors, Sacred Heart guardians. We'll change the languaging. Sacred Heart guardians. And good to see everyone. And I'm complete and whole.
Beautiful, Shelley. Thank you. Good to have you back. And it's nice to see you from this distance. It's almost like we were never together. Isn't it? Yeah, it's like, wow. So yeah, the journey of our journey was very special. And it brings us to this moment of presence that we've been sort of talking about for a couple of weeks. And we've been talking about Washington and grid lines, and Peter has brought in Pilot Mountain, and I actually did some grid work on that today in preparation. And so before, you know, we dive into anything serious, is there anything that's coming up? I'd like to, you know, ask you what's coming up within you in regards to our opening, this resonance, this opening of resonance. What is bubbling inside of you that you'd like to share into the field before we do any other work? Is there anything stirring that you'd like to bring to the fire?
May I? This
You
is
may.
Susan.
Yes. Hello, Susan.
Well, thank you. Hello, Charlie and Tyhson and Shelley. So great to see you. And we were holding you guys. We were thinking all the time, doing the peace Japamala. And yeah, I'm speechless. Thank you for the work. Thank you for your offering and your time and connecting. And right before this, Miss Amani has a fire going. I don't know if she's still here, but we were with the fire, and she likes to hold the space for you, and then you guys come on with the walk. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much. I'm complete.
Thank you. Thank you for your presence. Hello, Claudia. Are you trying to speak, dear heart?
No, just trying to see if I can connect with my laptop. Oh, God. I'm just trying to see if I can connect with my laptop.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I'll share that it has been feeling good to share the maps and this group with other people and seeing excitement of other people to tap into the work. I have been I continue to be intrigued every morning when I wake up about the last 5% of the work on the New Madrid Earth lines. And I just really feel a deep inspiration, and I just want to say thank you to this circle and to the consortium, and you know, I'm very inspired by this work. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a joy to have you with us and be part of this resonant field. I also would like to share that these moments of silence are important. We sometimes forget how important silence is. And Shelley and I, on our journey, one would think, oh, we just chattered our days away. And yet, most of the time, when we were in the field, there was this silence. Yet it wasn't a silence, it was a tuning in to a deeper level of awareness of our surroundings and our purpose. And I bring that up because as I tuned into the grids this afternoon, I found that same silence. Of course, I'm alone, other than my beloved bothering me with daily things, but it's that silence. It's that silence that we as humans have forgotten to trust. And when we do this work, it's important for us to listen. And the listening is different. And I bring that up because it's a different kind of listening. It's not a listening for somebody to talk or for somebody to bring something in, as much it is to listening to our own presence in the field. And I think I became very aware of that this past week, being the guardian. I was the warrior for Shelley. And one of the lessons that I learned in that was what I thought was paying attention and listening many times was actually a distraction from my purpose. And I can't explain that, but when it happens, you know. And I bring this up because we all in this work get wrapped up in what we're doing. And sometimes it's just as important what we're not doing, to pay attention to what we're not doing as well as doing. So it becomes a multi-dimensional purpose. And we as humans have been trained to be singular. We've been retrained. But our ancestors knew this. Our ancestors could hear a footstep before they could hear it. Our ancestors could tell by the shift in the wind what was going to happen. We have become less adept at that. And so what's important for us now as we tap into this grid work that we're doing and this energy work that we're doing is in the midst of our excitement and joy of doing, listen. Listen carefully. And each one of us in this circle, let's see, there's 11 of us. Each one of us will hear perhaps something different. And it's very important to honor that and know that if there's something arising that affects the whole, it's important for us to share with wisdom and kindness and gentility what's going on. I sense something. So, and I say that only because in the dowsing work that we've done over the years, I've stood as the guardian. And I revisited it this week. And so I wanted to share that with you as we call on Brother Peter to enlighten us more about this journey that we're eager to take with him. And just remember that if something comes up that's important to the field, it's always a good thing to speak wisely and gently into the field and let us know. And with that said, if nobody else has anything rising in them, Peter, I welcome you and thank you. I worked on the grids today. I took pictures of what was in last week's video that you showed us, and I did a grid map of that. I connected it to the medicine hoop because I felt that, and I was guided that there's a connection. There's a connection. I was also guided to connect it to Mount Shasta on the west gate, and I was guided to Mount Katahdin for the east gate, which are positionally on either side. So you have the east gate and the west gate represented. And so please share with us again, once again, the intention of what we're about to do and any information that you feel we need to hear before we dive in.
Great, Charlie. Thank you. Yes. Welcome to Mercury retrograde. I felt like I was walking through mud all day today. Just the energies are just really heavy, strong. Out here, the sun has its differing qualities. Back being an Easterner myself, it was like an Eskimo. You had a number of different types of rain that would fall and different atmospheres that you'd experience. But out here is the sun. And yeah, so today's sun was incredibly intense, just kind of like pushing down on you. So much so that I had to have a nap today. So, but yeah, that said, the pilot wheel is something that it's been rolling around in my head since I wrote the book back in Gaia Matrix back in '99. First noticing this one. And many people have worked on it over the years. From reading my book, they've just taken it upon themselves to go out and do this work. And something I would like to speak to is this, putting out these big energies. I found that, perhaps it's my own personal failing or something, but after putting out these big energies, being in the public eye and having people kind of reference me and talk about, my work, it can be very heavy and burdensome. And like post ceremony, I always get the post ceremony blues. It's kind of almost bipolar, because these energies lift me up, and then I crash down. But it's a peculiar thing, since I became a quote public figure by putting out these books. You can feel the field. The field is very present. When I worked on the hoop, I was kind of being a buffoon, and not a, with my computer didn't work and such. And I had this experience where, after we had completed our session, I wasn't sure, because I couldn't hear what was going on. I wasn't sure what had transpired, and if we'd indeed actually quit. And I broke into the session of the following woman who was on. I'm not sure who it was, and she really threw some anger at me, and it's just wow, we're talking about how emotions and how energies are so necessarily, kept in the gentle heart space when working with the field, because it gets transmitted instantly. So having clear intentions and having a clear heart really helps in doing this work, and both of which I have to say I haven't completely mastered. So I really hold that in humility doing this work. I come up with these patterns and lines, but I really feel like an imperfect servant in doing this work. So I really feel supported by you, and Imani let me know that 4,000 people had tuned into that mending of the hoop, and that's just the more we have, the more effect in the field that there is. So I thank you for looking at the grid and giving the pilot wheel some energy. The connections between the Mount Shasta and Mount Katahdin. Mount Katahdin is known as the home of the beautiful stone people. That's where the Abenaki, I think, are up there. The Abenaki legends had it that if you went up at that mountain, the beautiful stone people would pull you into their mountain and you'd never be seen again. And it's really quite a sentinel up there, holding holding anchor. And Mount Shasta has the similar kind of, the Telos, the city of Telos being this old Lemurian city that is in Mount Shasta. So these two kind of like Earth, how would you say it? In Mercury retrograde words. They're these rock lords, if you will. They attenuate, vibrate the stones. They speak to their crystals, and they work with us in concert. So, really grateful for all their help and work in this, that I do also feel supported in that way, and that we're all in this together. And we're here grounding the third dimensional plane, but we have lots of other helpers coming through in other dimensions that take care of their own space. So, holding space around the Pilot Mountain is, oh yeah, nice, Charlie. It's like wheels within wheels. We have part of this up there in Moundsville, West Virginia is verbatim. It's the Hare Krishna Temple of the East. It's really quite a place. Something right out of India. Krishna statues everywhere, but they're up there doing Hare Krishna mantras, 16 hours a day. So there's that's on the northern door of this wheel. And Serpent Mound is kind of like an interface point between these two wheels. There's a ceremony of remembrance that's taking place there on the 31st. It's kind of like the Day of the Dead ceremony. Stone Mountain, Georgia, that's of course another whole story there. But beautiful, powerful energy there. It's the Stone Mountain is essentially the end of the Appalachian Mountains. You can see that kind of curve. The Appalachians used to come much farther down, but they were eroded away a lot shorter. But the granite outcrop of Stone Mountain is the terminating end. Actually, they're quite large granite deposits there. Some of the best granite you can find is there, Marietta, Georgia granite. So there's a real power and depth in that mountain, connecting to the volcanic energies of Mount Katahdin and Mount Shasta. Yeah, there have been folks that have been working Paris Island as well. This is years have gone by since I've spoken with them, but they've been down there doing ceremony, trying to clear the energy out of Paris Island and those kind of swamps down there that hold those memories. Cape Fear, that's so it's a it was the name of a movie that very, very frightening story, but it's also a place that gets hit by hurricanes constantly. And it's a place where dolphins love to frolic, and feed, and just a tremendous amount of energy that place. There's a spin there that's just a tremendous power. It's just been ripped by hurricanes for forever, and it's a conversation of vortexes. We have in a stream, in a river, we see these flow of vortices as the river makes its turn and tries to adjust and blends in with other streams that enter into the river. Vortexes always appear. So, this is vortex conversation, and it's also a kind of a bubbling effect that happens in circular. Any kind of circular form has a any two-dimensional ring on the Earth, when generated, creates a dome and a cup. At least that's the sense that I get. That however wide it is, it goes that deep into the Earth and that high into the sky. So with these big rings, you're going up into the outer space and deep into the Earth's mantle. So, being in that alignment of holding space within that form, it's similar to our own bodies, our toroidal loop that we kind of replicate the Earth. Yeah. So, those spin fields. Yeah, and the Great Dismal Swamp, that's, of course, our favorite 3630 latitude. And in DC, Washington, DC. Wow, what a place. There's there's been so many contrivances, Masonic contrivances to try to empower the place and focus energies in the place. But as I said last time, there is a real problematic point at the center. The old Templar commandery of the Organization of American States. There's and just looking at part of my, these axiotonal, axes, really just between one point and another, where ley lines are more, like between Shasta and Katahdin, it's an axiotonal. It's like a 2 points generate a chord, and struck, they generate a sound, and that sound has a frequency that then the whole universe hears. But there's a line that goes right through through the Pentagon, right out one of the points of the Pentagon, the military building, the Pentagon, orients right to the west wing of the White House. And to get there, it has to go through this statue of Xochipelli and this death mask that he presides over, this 30-foot death mask right back of him. That's in the back courtyard of this Organization of American States. So there's there's a filter that is kind of tuning the relationship between the king and the warrior, and it's in the frequency modulation of that is this Xochipelli. And if that as a geomantic spot of place to print love is really, you know, like a critical geomantic point to focus on. Right now, you know, Xochipelli is every statue of Xochipelli has psychedelic mushrooms and all kinds of, all of their ayahuasca, all the various drugs that they used to feed the athletes. So that he's the god of athletes. So, you know, like we have all these, you know, this culture of athletes, and as a successful athlete in Aztec tradition, you get all the women and all the drugs you could imagine, all the food, but in the end, you'd be sacrificed, because they would sacrifice their greatest heroes. You know? So their sports heroes were sacrificed to the Kukulkan. So that's you know, that's a that happened down at Teotihuacan, which is on that same alignment that goes through Pilot Mountain, that goes through DC. So there's this, you know, kind of profit through suffering, if you will. You know, the Aztecs profited from the suffering of their victims by placating Kukulkan. You know, we as a culture profit from suffering. It's always been a heavy on my heart. You know, it's like the first dollar of the United States seems to be, you know, this profit through suffering. You know, so, you know, seeing Xochipelli there at Center Washington, D.C., I often, you know, wonder if that might be the case. And, you know, the other thing about D.C. is that it's on the exactly on the 77th degree of latitude. It's not 77 point something or other minutes and seconds. It's dead on, you know, right there. So, you know, this kind of like the latitudes of the Earth are all about time and worldview. So, you know, it's primed. The English prime meridian is generating an oscillation within our time field, which I guess time is the fourth dimension. But when you examine this 77th parallel, it also has a lot to do with you know, drugs, you know, like chocolate. Chocolate is in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and it's right on the 77th. And, of course, 3 Mile Island is also there. Well, I can go on for a long time about these stories, but, you know, Jamaican rum is on the 77th, and Cali, Colombia is on the 77th. Lima, Peru, same deal there. And the coffee plantations of the world. So it's all these stimulants, very much like that, like the oscillation that Xochipelli gets moving. So it's big energies that you know that are at work here. You know, you have the KKK of, you know, of Stone Mountain and the generals carved into the side of Stone Mountain in opposition to the you know, the constitutional unity of represented by Washington. So yeah, it's big energies and not very nice energies. You know, certainly. You know, there's I would think that, you know, we tried to do some work on the the energies between the Great Pyramid and the Kaaba of Mecca. And we discovered that there was quite a legion of jinn that protected that place. I mean, I was, I remained protected and think, thank my lucky stars. But other friends that were involved with that just really got smacked down for 3 days of misery. So there's also, it isn't all love and light, although that's where we have to come from is, love and light. But we're really confronting the bugs when we work with this one. There's a lot of big energies that have been at play for centuries that have, developed certain how would you say control fields just out of their own action, repeated action over and over again. The hatred that's generated between the polarities within the congressional field, for instance, generates a field of polarity that radiates into the country. So we become polarized as a people. And so, how to, that's part of the mending of the hoop is to try to just try to come out of that polarity space. So that's,
Thank you.
And into unity. So thank you.
Thank you. There was, it brought up, as I did that grid work, there was a place called Sand and, I forget what the name of it was, if I can call it back up again. It was said sandstone, SF. What did that represent? I was curious as to, I couldn't find that anywhere, so I looked.
Oh, that was Standing Stone State Park.
No, Standing Stone State Park. Okay, so what does that refer to?
Well, when looking at
attention, yeah.
I have yet to visit that site.
Okay.
So I was piqued by the name.
Okay. It says that when I looked at that at the grid and I work with it, and this is what I share with everybody, is to feel into what you're feeling and what you're seeing. And what I saw was the medicine hoop wheel was rotating clockwise, and as it touched the other one, it was, so we have a masculine and a feminine energy in those two wheels. When I looked at Washington, D.C., the patriarchal paradigm crushing the feminine arose for me. And so these are things that I share with people, is when you do this work, to tap into, yes, there are stories about everything, but what are you feeling? And when I look at the trouble that we're going through right now in the history of humanity, it is this return of the honoring of the divine feminine energy, Mother Earth, which has been usurped and stolen and written over and destroyed. So I look at this wheel, and I know DC has its own thing, and all of this is something that we need to sort of look at as, or at least I feel, not so much something we're going to cure in one day. This seems like a big project. What is your concept of what should we be doing with this?
Yeah, typically left that up to the individual to feel that out, what they feel most drawn to do in connection with it.
Okay.
Uh,
So with that said, I'm going to open it up to everybody else on the call and, to see what's arising in you. And so this is where we come together as this circle of however many, but it's really in the form of 12 around one. And what is rising for each of you as to what you feel you might be being called to look at or to hear or to process.
I'd like to jump in here for a minute because thank you, Peter, for the work that you're doing, and Charlie. And I don't know whether you focused on this last week as well. But what's calling to me is to become very, very specifically aware of the water and the water that's running through that area and the water that's running, and I'm sure you've probably spoken about it, the water that runs, under that mantle of the earth. And it brought to mind as you were speaking, it brought to mind that when Charlie and I were working on going down the river, and we were very specifically told to or I was definitely being told to really take a look at the dams and where those blockages were that had been done not necessarily maliciously in some aspects, but to begin to understand the relationship of the obstructions. And when you're thinking about water, you're thinking about oxygen levels for the nourishment of all life. You're considering the energies of what was the intention of those dams, to provide, yes, more electricity, but we're also involved in flow of electrical current money. And so one of the things that was really incredible that we did, and I think it would be a really very unified piece, is Charlie brought in Kanini, which is an understanding in Aboriginal, from Australia. It's an understanding of unconditional love and peace, and it's a lifestyle that the Aboriginals understand. And so we began to sing these words and sing this song into the water, and it was really powerful at every single dam. And and I feel that that's part of this collective feeling, is to feel in as a collective, and to yes, we can dowse, of course, yes, we can look at the energies, of course, and as a part of this return of what's coming to me, is this return of reciprocity, this return of understanding, this return of a unified consciousness, which is what we started this call with, is very powerful. So I thought I could just read into the field, and we could even simply, as a beginning, put up that map and just begin to just focus our energy there, without resistance, without, allowing our consciousness to flow with the mother, as Tyhson speaks to. And we've been playing also with the chord of atonement and forgiveness, and that was a really big piece of the journey that we took, was this journey of release of misunderstanding and hostilities, and that goes with this as well. It's like we're clearing those ancestral abuses, now called bullying, but how we've treated each other, and that goes all the way to this day. You know, how we treat each other is how we treat the land, is how we treat the water. You know, it's and vice versa. So I don't know if you're open to that, but I thought it's a really beautiful, and we sang it, even though we didn't know the tune, but we can just read it in, and I don't know, Charlie, if you can put it into the chat and everyone could, you know, we
If I
could
can
read.
call
I
it
don't know.
up. Yeah.
But it's really powerful, and I feel like, you know, just it's good to talk about all this stuff and learn about it, you know, and every day Charlie and I, you know, I would read to him the deeper understandings, the things that happened on that land where we were going that day, and to actualize, you know, just like Linda at night does the japa mala. It's just been this amazing experience of an expression, a vibrational frequency of peace, you know, speaking 3 different languages. So in this, we're calling forth, I mean, this is what's kind of coming through. We're calling forth our ancestors. We're calling forth, like for me, that relationship with the Aboriginal people is so strong. And we're weaving, like right now, part of sometimes when I look at these maps, I'm looking at like, well, okay, it's really great. We're talking about Turtle Island or these specific places, but can you understand, can we imagine, can we know that these frequencies, these lines, this medicine hoop that's been, you know, is connected to every part of the land everywhere on the planet. And that's what I want to bring into this call tonight, is that feeling that. So as we speak these words, I don't know, did you find them, Char?
I found them. I don't think I can copy and paste them to the chat. That's, oh, there they are. I have to do it separately.
Okay, maybe I can just read into it. I know, so people can just feel into, we can just put the map up. I don't know if everybody's into it, and then just open it up to what each you know, what each one.
It would probably be better if you read them or sang them, and we just put the map up and we'll just follow along with you. Yeah, because it's a tedious process to do that into the
Okay.
chat box.
We'll remember, maybe we can give it to
Yeah. So let me
so as he's
screen again.
sharing the screen.
Yeah.
So Kanini is an Anagu word, which means unconditional love. The Anagu people are considered to be the custodians of one of the oldest cultures on the planet. They are also the original indigenous custodians of Uluru and the sacred land surrounding it in Central Australia. This song is a dedication and a celebration of the sacred principles of Kanini and the power and importance of practicing and embodying unconditional love for ourselves, all beings, and the planet. The time is now. So everyone is welcome to join in singing this song, and tonight just feeling the vibration of the words across the planet to activate and sing up the song lines globally, spreading unconditional love. So I'll just read it in. And tonight, just holding this as an invocation and an evocation for all of our family, for all of our relatives, for those who are in our circles. As we connect with the earth, we're connecting with hoops of many hoops. And that Pilot Mountain, or the medicine hoop that's been shown, is connected and interconnected to, as Peter was describing, this toroidal field of energy. Kanini is peace. Kanini is love. Kanini is who we are. Kanini is family. Kanini is home. Kanini is where we are from. Now is the time to remember. Now is the time to be. Now is the time for the Chijirka Pulka. Now is the time to see. Live your dreams and follow your heart. Walk your talk. It is time to start. Kanini is an unconditional love, is loving yourself. Kanini is weaving the magic of dreams of our well-being and health. Now is the time to choose oneness. Now is the time for peace. Now is the time for harmony and for everything else to cease. We are all connected. We are all star family. The sacred land is our precious home. We are Kanini. Kanini makes us whole. Kanini makes us complete. Kanini connects us to one and all. Kanini makes life so sweet. Now is the time to choose oneness. Now is the time for peace. Now is the time for harmony and for everything else to cease. We are all connected. We are all star family. This sacred land is our precious home, and we are all Kanini. And just as we take a breath and maybe just take a moment of silence, just opening your palms, sending out that energy, that resonant field of love to all the extensions of energy that leading to Washington, D.C. And then we hold within our hearts this respect and deep honoring of all relations and those original people that held this land so sacred. We just see that energy running through the waters. And you might even see somewhere in Washington, D.C. that is calling out to you to bring an extra blast of this energy. And see people waking up, willing to stand in their moccasins for what they know is truth. So it is. Thank you. And the field is open for anyone else. And as Charlie was asking, even how does that feel to you? How did that feel to you? How does it feel?
I could add a little bit here. Um, in working these rings, I see it like a bubbling effect. After doing a workshop in the Grand Tetons, I came back home and these are just a bunch of bubbles. I spoke of how there was a dome, an etheric dome that went up into space, and a etheric dome that went into the mantle. But it's kind of like they're kind of like what came up with. What was like a rainstorm. You get one drop that falls on a pond, and it radiates out in a very symmetrical way. You get two drops that fall on a pond, and how they interact is, has a unique expression in geometry, each affecting the other. So I was just seeing these, like, these rings as drops of water, and what you're saying, Shelley, about, you know, it affecting everyone. It's like every drop radiates out across the entire pond. You know, just a simple, you know, just a, you know, the smallest raindrop on a pond will change the whole architecture of it, the whole surface of the pond is changed. So by dropping these love droplets, if you will, onto these sites, it kind of you know, takes away the hard edges of these forms that have been kind of burned into the land by conflict, by polarity, by history, by events, by wars. So somehow, you know, there's just this beautiful, like, adjustment. And you know, there's another thing that came through was this being out here in the desert West. We don't get much in the way of negative ions in our air. It's all this dry heat, you know, winds that just kind of tear at the mind. And cities are loaded with this, these negative or these positive ions that, you know, tear at the mind in our, you know, I guess I'm really missing the East and all that beautiful rain that falls out there just on a regular basis. Ponds that are everywhere, the rivers that are everywhere. So I see ripples. Complete.
It's amazing to watch what the water does to stone. The gentle, repetitive droplets of water on stone change its shape over time. And as you said that, and those words that Shelley read, that we read at the dams, the guidance came in to do that. And that's what it reminds me, that this process that we're working here is to be done with that consistency of sending love, sending light, and washing away and eroding the jagged edge of humanity. Its destructiveness, its pervasive greediness. And so I just throw that into the field as coming through as you were speaking about, yeah, those droplets on the pond and the river and the ripples, and yeah, that this is a process that people should take time and consideration with, not something to imagine, oh, we're going to do, you know, all of this intensity, because this was not brought about in a short period of time. It wasn't one war, or it wasn't one invasion. It's been layer after layer after layer after layer. So just throw that into the field as what I just witnessed. Thank you. And please, if somebody's felt something or saw something, please bring it into the circle. That's what That's what we do here.
Good evening, everybody. Wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to hear you. And as Shelley had put in those words, actually, as I came in, because I came in late, I came in, trying to ground. And I automatically went into a mantra, Rama Da Sa Se Sa Se So Hung. And those of you who may not know it, Ra, the energy of the sun, strong, bright, and hot, energizing and purifying. Ma, the energy of the moon, receptive, cool, and nurturing. Da, earth, secure and personal, grounding of all action. Sa, impersonal infinity, cosmos in all dimensions, openness, expansiveness, and totality is Sa. Sa, impersonal infinity. Say, the totality of the experience and is personal, a sacred thou, the embodiment of Sa. Soul, personal sense of merger and identity. Hung, the infinite, vibrating, and real I am thou. And I did a full 108 as you all were speaking, which I hope you don't find me rude because I was listening. I was muttering too. And as Shelley had, I looked at the map when I first came in, and then I looked at the map after you'd all were speaking, and the map got more beautiful to me. So whether by, perception, the perception shift, or I don't know what happened there, but the whole map just got really pretty and like all this color started coming out of it. And I was like, yeah, that beautiful. So thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
Miranda, would you explain Ra one more time?
Ra is the energy of the sun, strong, bright, and hot, energizing and purifying.
Thank you, because you helped explain what I wasn't sure about what I saw. I was guided to focus on, if you look at the two circles, they overlap like a vesica Pisces or a cell dividing. So that space is what I was, and those lines is what I was guided to focus on. And while I was focusing light and love to that space, I saw, yeah, you can see where they overlap like a vesica Pisces. The lines that create that, you call the fish, or whatever you want to call it, that area lit up like with fire. And were very bright like with fire. And it was almost like at times I could almost see that flame going into the other lines, but then it would bring back and it would just stay in that area. So I didn't know why fire until you said that, Miranda. Thank you. So that's what I saw. Thank you.
The eye of Ra used to be in my head. That Vesica Pisces is the eye of Ra. And Ra, Ra, the sun god is the fun god.
Rah, rah, rah.
Hi everybody, this is Judy. I was on another call and we were working on a land healing and actually on a project. And as I read some of my notes, they seem to really tie in here. So it might sound a bit fractured, but these were words from, I feel like Mother Earth, from the Divine Mother. So I just thought I would read some of them. So some of it has to do with specifically a project that I've been asked to take part in. And one of the things she said is that she's sick of being used for business purposes, itemized, and like we're seeing this visual of like a filing cabinet. So there was like anger about that, and that everything needs to be done consciously, that the land is fractured. And she said, if I die, you die. And then we were saying, well, this project might assist you. And she said, I don't need you to assist me. I need you to listen. And that really seems to be such a consistent theme everywhere that I'm hearing right now, is just listen. So you can have them do anything on this project as long as it's in right relationship with power. So this is the trick. Where are the desires coming from? And how does this impact other people and everything? She said, trust me, I will not lead you astray. I am heaven and earth combined. Patience, step by step. Allow my light to ground through you. And then we were shown like this golden light coming in specifically on the left side for the feminine, like allowing that to come into each of us and really drop down. And she said, each day, ask for the next step. What do I need to be aware of today? So really about listening into that awareness, and listen and then do it, like follow through, like really in integrity, walk the talk. So you'll be shown a new level of connection and commitment, and about listening, how to listen. New pathways are opening in the body, and into the project that we're working on. She was saying, ask if it's limiting. There's different body parts that are bound in this. They're not all integrated between the star system and the earth. She said the impact of this power, this source of it, is so essential. Where does it come from? Because part of this generates a lot of money. So there are some people that are really focused on that. And really it has to be the relationship with the earth first. She said, this is about engagement with all life. Everything to be taken into consideration, globally, locally, within, without. You are a star and you are a speck of sand. Please be with me on this mission to save the world. Every motion that you make creates an action or response in the field. Levels you didn't know existed before, from the micro to the galactic. So I offer that into the field. And I love you all.
This is Amani. Thank you so much for that. That was so beautiful. I feel the poetry of the earth through your words, and the music and the motion and the rhythm and the harmony. And one of the things that I was seeing when we were with the maps before was, and I imagined in my mind some of the other earth rings that I've seen on these maps, and some of Charlie's maps, how music, like an orchestra across like looking at the whole planet, and what is the orchestration of all of these rings, and how do they move, and and how do they feed each other as they move, and so they were starting to show me some things like that. And the other piece I got was around the piece the in DC. It's like I keep feeling about offerings for around that building, and like connecting with the right people who are of the tradition to be able to do that, in order to help the energy flow across that. I felt it last week when you talked about it, and I felt it again this week. And and it's always a really good practice to, like, when I'm saying this specifically to something you shared, Peter. Like, I don't know what your practices are after you do the planetary work, but like cleaning psychically off, and as well as really making sure to fill the space back in, because it does take a lot of energy for us. And I felt very strongly compelled to fan the fire as you were offering your prayer, Shell, to really keep the light bright, as those words were spoken. And on the, as far as the sort of completion place for, or close, like the ongoing process for me with the New Madrid Earth Ring, has been about filling the space, just like really, now that the trauma has been significantly moved, to just like keep filling the space with love. And so I do that on a daily practice, and I think that's how we really change these lines that are, how we change the energy. Like, it's just by giving them love every day. Blessed be.
I'll throw in. All good?
Yes, go ahead.
When Peter, it was just really funny. When Peter was talking, it was like, well, one thing that I really want to say that, I don't know why I didn't feel it before. I love the idea of the bubble dome all the way up in space, however big that circle is, it's a ball above and below. Because that just changed the way I looked at the map and how I felt about everything. And I know that, but when you look at a flat map, you're like, oh, there's the circle. But we know it's not like that. So that struck me right away. And then things in the map did change before and after energy in the reading was put in there. And I saw it more three-dimensionally, like as the dome had expanded and kind of shrank back down. But the one thing I was feeling in the beginning was like, and if you decide to accept this mission, it's like, not the tape or the tape will self-destruct, like Mission Impossible, right? There's going to be, and the vision I had was like of somebody releasing a spring and it sprung, like doing, like a piano string. There's going to be a huge release of energy. And I wasn't really going to bring it up like this, but Imani was Miss Imani was talking about making sure the energy is held correctly, because there's going to be a lot of stuff being released, right? And to fill in the space, but basically we're letting you let the steam off the pressure cooker a little, right? You don't want it to just, right? I don't know. And the other thing is, I think did you guys want to end on October 30, like the main focus of the healing, or the realignment, or what you want to call it, is like the new moon, the black moon is Thursday and the new moon is Friday. So I invited Master Raul. I don't know if he joined in, but I have his, I sent him an email, but doesn't really matter because we can put our intentions, the black moon is the moon the night before the new moon. And it does seem like the new moon is Friday. So even a moment or a thought of an intention, because like sort of, it would be a great time to set the seed and the intention for what I think you thought. I thought I heard you say something was going to finish on the 30th or the 31st, which would be the full moon is the 31st again. So I think it's a great idea. I'm all in on it. That's all I gotta say. So thanks. Thank you, everyone.
Anyone else want to jump in? I don't know how long you've been going, Tyson or Charlie. And if anyone else.
I'll just say a few words. To bring about change and transformation doesn't really take a lot. When we, at least we found today that it didn't take a lot. We were working in the Sacred Valley in Peru, where the Incas, the Inca highway was. And we were working with the triune there, the three mountains that wanted, that were the anchors, the crown chakra, the heart chakra, and first chakra. And when we tuned into the mountains, and the thing about Peru is all the mountains are sacred, considered to be sacred by Peruvians. Each has a spirit that they've been working with since time immemorial. And when we tuned into them and we worked with them, they really wanted just to have the planetary of flower essences and Bach flower essences. That's all they wanted. They wanted that connection. Here you are, when you think of the giant stone being, right? Some of the hugest mountains in the world, saying, no, I just want the blessing of a flower essence to be all right. I want to be recognized in that way. So you as a human can work with the flower essence to bring that to me, to bring about my healing. And so it was like each one wanted no more than 6 drops. Some were from the Bach flower essences and some were for the Palandria. And they shifted their energy dramatically. So I just bring that up as something that was really brought a lot of humility to me, in that it doesn't take much, right? It doesn't take much to move the consciousness of a mountain when you tune into what does the mountain really want, right? Sort of like, if the mountain doesn't come to Muhammad, take Muhammad to the mountain. Or it's anyway, it was an eye opener for me. So I just throw that out. And the other thing that came to me is that it's really clear to me that there's no defense against love. So no matter what we're doing, when we do it from the energy of love, that in the universal law of one which is do no harm, that it overshadows and rectifies all man-made law. So it doesn't really matter in the end who did what in Washington, or what clockwork orange of wheels within wheels that changed the ley lines of the energy that bound us into this catacomb of insanity, this, that have changed the timelines by changing the clockwork with the Gregorian calendar so that we're out of time. We're running out of time. We have to work hard in order to exist, when sacred time isn't linear. It's beyond time. There's no beginning and there's no end. So part of this is liberating ourselves from that clockwork, from that wheel within wheel, like clogs within the mechanism of a clock that grind ever onward, holding us in bondage to this belief system of that's how we thrive on this planet. So these are the thoughts that are coming through my mind. And I love the whole idea of the dome, because I've been reading Jose Agreles's last book before he died. And he saw himself as the time avatar, by reincarnation of Volcan, who was the Mayan. And the last book he wrote was the next step in evolution, where he talks about the noosphere as being the sphere of consciousness that surrounds the earth. So there's the biosphere, which is the living matter, of the unity of all of us, a living matter on Mother Earth, that are sustained by Mother Earth. But we're also part of the global brain, right? We're part of this noosphere that Teilhard de Chardin talked about, that there will come this time of oneness. Well, this collective consciousness, this unity consciousness, and it's almost foreordained in the evolution of consciousness that we will arrive at this state of cosmic consciousness. So it's already in the works. So in some ways, the little rascal in me wants to just take the stick and stick it in the spokes of the bicycle that's grinding along and bringing it to a complete halt, right? But I'd have to do it with love if I guess I did it that way. But the clock is grinding the wheels of the gods grind slowly, and it's time to stop that craziness, because we believe that we're caught into this and that we're all victims. And no, we just go into sacred time and we're out of that craziness. Hopefully what I'm saying makes sense to some people. Anyway, I'll just be quiet now.
I'm so glad you brought that in, Tyson, because that really, when I began to learn about the noosphere and, began to read a little bit and understand Teilhard de Chardin through being involved with Barbara Marx Hubbard, my whole body lit up. And to understand that consciousness, oops, did I freeze? Ooh, weird. I don't know if it's Charlie's computer or mine. That's weird. All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, that was weird. All of a sudden, like when I said my whole body lit up, everybody like froze. And I'm like, but I wasn't seeing that little sign that said, your computer is, I don't know what, short circuiting or whatever it says. But anyway, I short circuit when I really get to feel into the vastness of the energy of the planet and the noosphere, and this understanding of this great relationship of our interconnectivity with everything, and that information is available. And I think tonight, for me, this calling to really listen, like slow down enough to listen to, and I think that was such a message of the river, like how to be, like what came to me, and some people have heard me say this, is, focused commitment to live life. I've just been this crazy multitasker, and some of you might know about Barry Brailsford. When I met Barry Brailsford, it was one of the things he told me, and one of the things, he was a Dowser and author, like phenomenal author in New Zealand, very connected, and was asked to write the Song of Waitaha. I mean, there's so much about him, but basically, really feeling into this relationship with the earth and the ancestors and the cosmos. And that's where I light up. That's my joy. And so thank you for bringing that in. And yeah, this has felt really good to me to be back here and to, as I was saying, the river, that focus commitment to bring that back to really being with what it feels like to walk this earth, being so like not distracted and just fully listening and being called and going where you're being called and trusting it and living this amazing, versatile, consciousness. That's how tonight started. So I'm just really grateful for being here and tapping back into the field and this level of resonance that changes everything and brings us to a place of receptivity and reciprocity. Then the earth can, what I really have been getting, what I got on that river is that she's wanting to give back to us. She's wanting to speak to us, like Judy was talking about. She's wanting to, have us experience the reciprocity of her consciousness, the earth's consciousness. And I think that's part of why we come together, to kind of wake up into that. So with that, I don't know if anybody else has anything they want to pop in and share. Charlie and Tyson, I hand it back over to you guys tonight. Thank you.
I would like to just honor and recognize Pokol Votan as a, that it was, it's all about synchronicities for me. And Pokol Votan was, he had this tomb in the Temple of Inscriptions in Palenque. And they found a passageway. They found a couple of finger holes in one of the stones and pulled this up, and there was a sand. They moved the sand away, and there was a stair there. So they began to dig, and they dug for a full year to get down, cleaned off the sarcophagus, which is that famous sarcophagus of the spaceship, but it's really like a man in a spaceship, but it's really the tree of life and man's death, and being devoured by death, but that creates life. So when they finally opened the tomb and opened it to the air, it was right at the moment of my birth. So it's not that I don't I humbly offer this. It's just when I hear Tyson speak of Pokol Votan, it puts a ripple in the time and in the nonosphere for me. So that I've there's when Pokol Votan was released into the world on June 15th, 1952 at 6:45 in the morning. There was a knowledge field that was released along with that Jose Aguiles picked up on and communicated quite beautifully in his books. And using that lunar cycle which is the sacred time, seems to be the what the message is here for me as the concordant message of that. Working with the moon cycles is very important in this, and working with the noosphere is because this ring, like I say, it goes up high, but it also connects with that noosphere that is all encompassing the planet. So, 嗯。 Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Tyson. Thank you, Amani. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Randall and Oriana, although we didn't hear from you. Thank you, Jess and Claudia and Miranda. As we come to this place of finishing, it's not an ending, it's a finishing of a moment. And when you finish something in woodworking or artwork, you're polishing, it's a polishing, you're finishing off what's been, you're putting the shine to what we've been and done here. And so I just want you to carry that shine with you in your hearts, knowing that as we tapped into this amazing center of North America that's circles and touches Washington, D.C., that each one of us listening at that deeper level will bring us closer to remembering who we truly are. And that being who we are is not measured so much in what we do, but what we hold, uphold for others. This is the message of the water. The water in and of itself is just water, but it's what the water gives to all of us, how the water supports all of us, how the water is us, that makes everything shift in a moment. And so I just ask you to stay in that space, to trust that space, to know that when we come together in circle and we open with a resonance, I want to close this in resonance and allow you to take another breath. To let that breath go into the universe with peace, with light, and with love. That's what we're here for. I'm complete, I'm whole, and I witness each of you as complete and whole as well. And look forward to Linda coming on with her beautiful mala beads and chants. And thank you all. Thank you all for your presence tonight. And we speak of beautiful Linda and she arrives. Magic, isn't it? And I don't even have a wand.
Goodness, you keep giving.
Don't forget to
Thank-
get the recording, Charlie.
Thank you all for being here, and yeah,
Thank
hold
you,
this
everybody.
evening in your hearts. Thank you. Thank you.
We love
Next
you.
week.
Blessings.
Blessings to all.
Thank you for your beautiful evening, Tice. Love you.
Love to all of you.
Mhm.
Love to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter.
Everyone's leaving early tonight.
Well, you arrived early.
Oh, I we just come to say hello and be here. I
Well,
didn't mean
there's still some of us here. We're just sort of basking in the joy of what we just witnessed with each other, so, and shared with each other, yeah. The welcome to the
good.
bliss field.
It is a bliss feel. Good to see you, Shelley. So good to see you here.
Yep, you got my number. I've already done